If we are so totally irrational, and always have been, what do you want to teach with rationality, the rational solution of problems, as the basis of what you do right?
I feel that since I do appreciate rationality, I do believe I have a kind of ability to be a skeptic, to insist on evidence, to want things to make sense. I have the duty to say so, just as some people feel that they have the call to spread God's word. I believe that if there's such a thing as God's word, it's rationality, and I have the call to spread it. And secondly, even though I don't think I'll convert the world to rationality, I may influence an occasional person here and there. And every small addition to the sum total of rationality is precious. And I would like to be responsible for as many drops as we can possibly add to that small pond.
Tell me what the motivation would be for someone to embrace the rational ethic that you relate to.
Well, for one thing, you understand the universe better. To believe in nonsense is really to limit yourself terribly, to live in fear of all sorts of things that don't exist. Imagine, if you will, how it must have been in the old days when you believed in ogres and devils and all kinds of monsters and evil fairies. I mean, the whole world was filled with intelligences superior to your own that were malicious and evil, and you lived in terror. Now, heaven only knows that there are evils in the world and there are dangers, but you might as well concentrate on those that really exist and not create them for yourself and try to live surrounded by these imaginary menaces.
You want to serve mankind, and you believe that you can do that best by emphasizing the rational within us. But clearly, the gods, the terrors, must have served us at least well enough for us to have maintained them all of these eons. Why do you want to take them away from us?
We knew so little about the world. We live in uncertainty. We know that at any time disaster might strike. We cannot foresee the future. It is very uncomfortable to live under such conditions. People make up ways of controlling the future. They dream about fairy godmothers who give them gifts. They go and ask questions of fortune tellers of all kinds to give them a hint as to what may be in store for them and how they may best persuade fate to deal kindly with them. Or if they're religious, they'll pray to God. Something like that. It gives them a feeling of security. Now, there's no use having false security if there's nothing else available. That's what people go for. But now, if, for instance, a person insists on some sort of mumbo-jumbo, instead of, let us say, taking advantage of modern medicine, then, you know, he's virtually committing suicide. To be irrational gives you certain answers. Anyone would rather go to somebody who'll say 2 + 2 = 5, and there's no mistake about it, than to go to someone who says, well, modern scientific research says that 2 + 2 is usually 4, but we can't always be certain, of course. They'll go for the certainty, even if it's wrong. Why do people go out and buy fake oil stock of all kinds? Con men always get rich. They sell people all kinds of ridiculous things. They play all kinds of games which just take money away. Why? Because in each case they promise that the person will make a lot of money. And the eagerness to get rich easy, the get-rich-quick schemes that people fall for, is what they lose money over. Well, this is a kind of a get-rich-quick scheme of the mind. These are con men of the spirit, if you will. They're selling you something, a false security that sounds good, knowledge of the future that doesn't really exist, assurance that you'll be safe when you're not really safe, and you give them all the money you can in return for it. Same thing like betting which pea is under which shell.
Are you a religious man?
No, I'm not.
Why not? Well, the easiest answer is I wasn't brought up so.
Yeah, but I mean, you were obviously a very curious man, and you have an open mind about everything.
Oh, sure.
And so you what? You investigated religion and came to the conclusion that?
No, I can't say I investigated religion with any particular interest, but I was interested in the Bible as a work of literature. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote a 2-volume book on that, but only as a work of literature, as one of the earliest, if not the earliest, serious histories we have. The Book of Kings, the Book of Chronicles, the Book of Samuel, and also as a repository of great poetry, probably the greatest poetry we have, certainly the greatest early poetry we have, and also as teachings of rather excellent ethical, ethical statements. Yeah. The one thing that the Bible isn't, that some people seem to think it is, it's not a biology textbook, it's not an astronomy textbook. The first chapter of Genesis, the first couple of chapters of Genesis are the 6th century BC version of how the world might have started. We've improved on that since. I don't believe that those are God's words. Those are the words of men trying to make the most sense that they could out of the information they had at the time.
What about the life of Christ?
Well, this, of course, is in historic times. It's at the time when the Roman Empire was at its height. The only information we have about the life of Jesus is in the Gospels, in the New Testament Gospels. There's no reference to him in any literature outside. There's one dubious paragraph in the histories of Josephus, but outside the sacred writings, absolutely no mention. This doesn't mean that he didn't exist. The chances are he did. There were many people at the time who were, what should we say, messianic, who were believed to be messiahs by one group or another. And Jesus survived. When Muhammad also received little notice outside of Arabia. And I dare say many founders of great religions were dismissed by people of the time, except those who believed in them as just one more kook.